What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rant Social. If you come in, tune in, you already know what this is about. This is a versus recap between the legendary Big Daddy Kane and the legendary KRS-One. Now, Big Daddy Kane is from Brooklyn, KRS-One representing the Bronx, even though KRS-One was born in Brooklyn. Like many of us that were native New Yorkers, you might switch and move around in boroughs, right? So I myself was born uptown in the Bronx when my family was, but I also grew up as a teenager for a 10-year stretch in Brooklyn. So I was divided smack down the middle. I was born in 75. So right around when Kane and KRS-One came into prominence, I was right around 14, 15 years old. And I have to say as a side note before I begin this recap, I love KRS-One. I was definitely a fan. I'm definitely a fan of his when I seen him live, right? But much like different characters we grew up with, Michael Jackson, Prince, some people were into them so much that they wanted to look like them, right? Well, now I'm in Brooklyn now in the 80s growing up, and I wanted to look like Big Daddy Kane. That's who I wanted to be like. I had the high top, flat top. I had the air blower with the comb on the end. So whenever I used to get out the shower, I would pick up my flat top. You made sure you was at the barber lined up. I even at one point put cuts in my eyebrows like Kane. And I tried to get the 4-finger ring like Kane. And at the time, if you were in New York, I don't know about the rest of the country, but really the streets was divided about who was the best, Big Daddy Kane or Rakim from the Eric B. and Rakim fame. Eric B. was the producer and DJ for Rakim. Rakim was the MC. And the modern style of MCing is giving credit to Rakim for his delivery technique, but Kane was out at the same time. And Kane had a revolutionary flow as well. And because of Big Daddy Kane specifically, and then it transitioned into Notorious B.I.G. as being my all-time favorite rapper. But Big Daddy Kane was the first rap icon that made me go, I want to be like that guy. Right? His skill was impeccable. His look was impeccable. My brother was a photographer, my older brother, so he was into all the artists and stuff. So then he actually bought the book, the sex book that Madonna put out that had Big Daddy Kane in it too. Like Big Daddy Kane was a legend early. Like pretty much in his first 5 years, he had already stamped himself as a legend. So I just want to say that before I get into this verse is that I'm going to try to keep it as neutral as possible because I'm not trying to disrespect KRS-One or Big Daddy Kane. And I just wanted to put it out there, my whatever bias you may perceive that I may have toward one or the other, right? And I respect the hell out of KRS-One's mind, his mindset, his intelligence, what he preaches, all on point. And he got bangers and he got hits, and that I grew up on being a native person from the Bronx, but I also claim Brooklyn too. That's my home too, because I made my bones as a young man in Brooklyn, fighting, running around with a gang, playing sports. Really where I got my toughness from. Where I got my toughness from was Brooklyn, most definitely, because that was the age for that to happen. Not saying that I wouldn't have got tough in the Bronx. Oh yeah, most definitely I would have. But Brooklyn raised me in that sense, right? So let's get into this Verzuz recap with Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One. And I'm just going to say straight out, first and foremost, who I think won, and that's Big Daddy Kane. After all of that I said, right, I was going to keep it fair. Well, that's about as fair as I could keep it, because I'm going to explain to you why I believe Big Daddy Kane won. Okay, the point of this Verzuz was to showcase to the world the real MC, where the real MC started from. You know, KRS-One has been telling the world that he's the blast master, he's the dopest MC in the world ever since he got on the mic. You know what I'm saying? The bridge is over. He set it off against a whole borough. You know, also South Bronx, the South Bronx, you know, made us proud of the Bronx. But why he lost this battle was very simple. It was a performance thing. Was his catalog a little deeper than Kane? I don't know. I can't say that for sure. Right? I have a pet peeve when it comes to hip hop performing. Now, I wouldn't have seen a lot of these concerts if my wife didn't drag me to them. Me, you know, not really wanting to go. I was like, I grew up with these guys. I don't really need to see them live, you know, But I always would go and end up having a good time, you know, having some nostalgia, some flashback. But I have one pet peeve with old school artists when they perform live. They want too much crowd participation, too much call and response. Everybody say, hey, ladies, single ladies, all the dudes with money in the pot, put your hands in there. Everybody under 30 years old, say yeah. I mean, it's almost like going to church where you're standing up, sitting down. You ever been in one of them gospel churches where you standing up, sitting down on hard ass wood benches, standing up and sitting down, stand up and sing, sit down, stand up again and sing. Listen, sometimes church is too much work. I'd rather be watching football anyway. You're lucky you got me in there. Now you want to work me. And that's the way I feel what happens in a lot of old school concerts, where especially they don't have a deep catalog, so they have to do all of this audience participation, call and response to fill time. And I felt like KRS-One didn't have to do that. If you're claiming to be the blast master, the greatest MC to ever touch a mic, you need to rhyme your complete verses without begging for crowd participation or begging for the crowd to finish your verse, finish off punchlines, multiple punchlines in a verse. Big Daddy Kane rarely did that. His breath was better. His wind control was better. His diction and clarity was better. He was the better technical MC. This is why he won. Yeah, we knew KRS was going to come out with but was also noticeably evident was KRS-One got short-winded. He started sweating. He was overdressed. He was already sweating going into the third song. Kane was cool as a cucumber. I don't think I seen Kane sweat all night. Maybe when he went back after his song was over, he took a rag out of pocket and just dabbed his forehead, put his fedora back on, and came back down the ramp and did his next joint. Kane was smooth as ever, man. Shout out to Big Daddy Kane, man, showing how a grown man is supposed to look, how a grown man is supposed to conduct himself in the heat of battle and the fire. Because KRS-One got desperate last night. And what I mean by he got desperate was he had to try to start throwing little battle rap jabs at Kane and try to bite Kane into some freestyling. But when Kane did freestyle, he ate him up, man. He ate him. Now, KRS-One has some dope freestyles, especially in the second half of the verses. KRS-One caught a second when he took that fucking jacket off. He won't take that hat off, though, for reasons I'm not going to go into. Kane took his hat off and still had a full head of hair. I'm not sure KRS-One could say the same thing. That's why he was sweating to death under that goddamn Jamaican Scully hat he had on. Star said he looked like he was sweating curry and goddamn Aki and sourfish. But it wasn't the sweating. It wasn't the outfit. We all knew Kane was going to outdress KRS-One. We knew that. That wasn't even a question. But what I really counted on was KRS-One rhyming. Not all this, you rhyme a couple bars and you expect the crowd to finish off every punchline. KRS-One lost because he thought, and now anybody white watching this, I don't want you to be offended by what I'm about to say. KRS was performing like he was performing with a crowd of white people in London, where they're so grateful to have a pioneer hip hop in front of them. They know all their words. They know they're fanatics. So when KRS-One does this, the crowd know every word to every song, to every record. Black folk ain't like that, especially not New York black folk where the art form started. You got to come a little bit better than that. We're not going to sing your records for you, man. If we feel like singing them along with you, cool. But you still got to do the record. You have to perform the whole record. And then at the end, KRS-One made the statement, I've been telling everybody for years I'm the greatest MC. Anybody don't know or don't like it, you got to come up here and test me. Listen, I've gained a greater appreciation for Jay-Z, Nas, the dudes that were my age that put it down in the 90s and early 2000s. Listen here, man. Blastmaster KRS. You don't want no smoke with somebody like Jay-Z. You would have got blasted off the stage. Probably it would have been over before the 10th record it was played. It would have been over because KRS-One was out of shape. I don't know if he has a medical condition. That may be the case, but I'm telling you what I saw without knowing any of the background. KRS-One was out of shape, not body-wise, wind-wise, his vocals. He was getting tired early. Kane didn't look tired the whole night. Kane's diction was much better. His vocal agility was much better live. Even though Kane has the more monotone voice and KRS-One's voice rises higher in register and KRS-One is generally louder and he depended on being loud. And I'm sorry, that don't win a rap battle, just being loud. You gotta perform your verses and you can't rely on the crowd to help you. Kane did not rely on the crowd. Kane realized he was performing in a stadium. He wasn't performing in a small club full of white or Asian people. No disrespect. KRS-One thought he was performing in front of a crowd in Amsterdam somewhere. Who he could do that type of thing in that type of scenario. I don't like it though. I think it's lazy performing. I don't like it. If I pay my money to, whatever the price is, the ticket, buying the drinks, eating the food, the transportation, the parking, I'm not singing your fucking record for you. I'll sing along with you, but I'm not singing your record for you. I'm not on stage. Why the hell should I be doing your punchlines? You're the MC. You're the performer. I'm in the audience. Now, I know there's a lot of wannabe MCs that be in the crowds. All of us grew up spitting rhymes and stuff. Not all of us, but a lot of us did. So, yeah, there's a lot of people in the crowd who dreamed of being an MC, and they'll gladly fill in the gaps when you do like this with the mic. But that ain't everybody. Some people actually pay to be entertained. And this is where KRS's ego, which I always felt his ego surpassed his talent, truthfully. Because truthfully, he cannot fuck with Jay-Z. He cannot fuck with Biggie. He can't fuck with Nas. Okay? He cannot. he would get smashed. Okay, we have to eliminate Biggie. Biggie's gone. He'll never be able to do a versus. That's one great fucking tragedy. Because Big would wash damn near anybody on a versus with 3 records, 3 albums. That's all he needs. In his short-term little career, wash damn near anybody. So KRS is one claim to being the greatest MC. That's another reason you lost. You got outperformed by Big Daddy Kane. He looked better. He looked fitter. They both brought out guests and surprises, which was great. It was great to see Roxanne Shante. It was great to see Nice and Smooth, Buckshot. Who KRS-One brought out? DJ Red Alert. Crazy Legs and the whole crew, the whole breakdancing crew. It was good to see Kid Capri. It was great to see DJ Scratch. And that was one issue I had as well. KRS-One was really in his ego because he was losing. And I'm going to tell you why he knew he was losing. When the DJ started to suggest, hey, give us 5 minutes, it was really Scratch. Let us go back and forth, me and Capri. KRS-One shut it down. He said, no, it ain't about the DJs. There's a versus between me and Big Daddy Kane. I didn't like that because KRS-One, you supposed to be a hip-hop purist and you know it starts on them turntables. Before nothing else, hip-hop started on them turntables. So for you to get up there and disrespect the DJs because you were losing, and I think he was also upset because he didn't have great chemistry with DJ Kid Capri. On a lot of records where KRS-One wanted the record lowered in volume so he could put emphasis on lyrics, he had to keep prompting Kid Capri to lower the record. So I think KRS-One got annoyed halfway through the show, and he wasn't down with showcasing Kid Capri going up against DJ Scratch. And I think that could have been a major highlight of the show that didn't happen. If you gave those dancers all that time, you could have gave the DJs equal time to go back and forth and cut and scratch and let them do their thing, because Scratch is a legend, and I don't sleep on DJ Kid Capri's actual DJing skill, because when he started to go off, he went left hand, right hand. If you know anything about DJing, some DJs is only one-handed. Kid Capri, I believe, is a full-fledged DJ. Would he have beat DJ Scratch technically in all the chicka? I don't know, but I wanted to see it. I would have loved to see it. As somebody who started out being a fan of Jam Master Jay, I was a fan of a DJ before I was a fan of a rapper. The first hip-hop artist I was a fan of was Dr. J, the famous DJ from Run DMC. Jam Master Jay, the famous DJ from Run DMC. Jam Master Jay, I fell in love with him. And then DJ Jazzy Jeff was the second DJ that caught my attention from DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. All right, but let me continue. It was a great overall show. All right. It's not easy to rap for 2 hours. I'm not trying to sit up here and act like I don't know that it takes a certain amount of wind and breath control. But I felt like KRS-One has been touring nonstop all over Europe doing shows. Big Daddy Kane has been touring nonstop. I've seen Kane live in person in Brooklyn and Coney Island, right? I've seen KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane in the Barclays before, live, right? So KRS-One performed like he was missing a hype man. And in all reality, he should have brought one on the stage with him. They should have allowed them to have hype men, because KRS-One needed one. And that's why he lost the battle. Yes, he finished strong. He finished strong. But if you lost in a boxing match, you lose the first, let's just say, you lose the first 6 out of 8 the first 8 rounds, and you only won about 2 rounds of 6. And then you have some even rounds in there toward the end, and then you win the last 2 rounds, that does not declare you the victor. Does not declare, and I'm not even so sure he won those last rounds, because Kane his performance was superb all the way through. Now, did I like all the records, how they sounded live from Kane? Not all of them. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, every joint that he did was fire live, because you're not going to like every record from an artist. And then how it sounds on a record sometimes doesn't translate well on stage. And then you have to remember, I wasn't there live. I'm watching this over a broadcast. So that's even another buffer and another layer to where it's really important for you to perform your verses. And that's why, to me, Big Daddy Kane won, hands down. Was it a blowout? No, I'm not going to say it was a knockout. I'm going to give Kane the win on a unanimous decision, all 3 judges, for Big Daddy Kane. It's not a split decision win, in my opinion, right? And I was born uptown in the Bronx. So I have to just keep it real. I can't just say it Team Bronx and Team KRS because I'm from the Bronx. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. If you go back and watch the verses, like, I don't like the way Hot 97 reviews verses. And this is the problem when you don't have enough black people on a black music station. I'm going to say this again. This is the problem you have when you don't have enough black people on a black music station. Who the hell are all of these people on this panel on Hot 97 that don't know? They trying to break down the battle record for record. No, it's an overall vibe. You can't just go record for record and vote that way and think you're going to come up with the winner. And in my opinion, they were wrong. Dead wrong. 6 of them on a panel, wrong. Wrong as hell. You cannot give KRS-One all of those early rounds when he wasn't rhyming his own verses. You cannot give him the first 3 rounds if the crowd is doing half his raps. And he was visibly tired, okay, early. Not only that, Kane showed a variety of flows. Rap fast, rap smooth, rap slower, slow it down. And the look on KRS-One's face said it all. All you had to do was look at his face. Now, I know they friends, so I know this wasn't a malicious battle. There was no tension whatsoever. They're friends, they're buddies. They probably had a great time after this versus was over. But there was a point where I looked at KRS-One during the middle of that battle, and you could see that he knew he was taking an L. Because in his mind and his ego, the way he's projected himself all of these years is that nobody can fuck with KRS-One on that stage. And he had to stand on it last night. And he failed. Big Daddy Kane came off way more polished, way more in control, way better shape. And his lyrics were superior. I'm sorry. I like some of the conscious records and freestyles KRS-One did at the end. Excellent. Not taking nothing away from KRS-One. He closed strong because he had to. He was fighting for his life in that battle. He's really lucky that fucking Scratch fumbled the Roxanne Shante cameo because he couldn't find the beat fast enough, for her to really get comfortable and go in. So she had to ad lib and talk while he was fumbling on the laptop looking for a beat for Roxanne Shante. But that would have brought the house down. If he would have threw on Roxanne Shante's hit records, any one of them, and let her go. So the DJs weren't on point last night. Scratch, that's why I said it would have been really important to let the DJs go for about 5 to 10 minutes in battle, because they really weren't in sync. I can't say Scratch was totally in sync with Kane. And I can't say, and I definitely can say that Capri wasn't in total sync with KRS-One. I don't know how much rehearsal time they had, but I love Swizz Beatz. He's a humble guy, but I'm going to give one suggestion to Swizz if this ever reaches your ears. If you're going to bring older dudes to a Verzuz, I don't know if this was the case. I don't know how much time Swizz Beatz gave KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane, how much time he gave them to prepare, but it kind of looked like they had about 2 weeks. That's what it looked like. Now, Kane is polished because Kane keeps performing, but so should have been KRS-One because he hasn't stopped performing either. But they did not, KRS-One and Kid Capri, I don't know how much they rehearsed, but it looked very unprofessional for two guys that are such masters at this hip-hop thing. They looked amateurish as a team. That's the second reason KRS-One lost. And listen to me when I'm saying this. I am not slamming KRS-One. He is still KRS-One. But he no longer, to me, can be taken seriously as the king MC of that stage. He cannot. Until you can rap your entire verses yourself, not run out of breath, and you have to keep pitching the mic to the crowd to hold you up. It's almost like the crowd was holding KRS-One up. You cannot proclaim King MC of the stage with a performance like that, where Jadakiss would have washed you. Easy. Easy. In fact, not just Jadakiss, but Styles P. The way KRS-One was performing last night, Styles P would have washed him. And I'm not saying that as a diss to Styles P. Styles P is one of the greatest MCs of all time. He just doesn't get the credit. Either one of them boys would have washed KRS-One last night. Snoop Dogg would have washed KRS-One last night. LL Cool J would have washed KRS-One last night. Ice Cube would have washed KRS-One last night. I'm sorry. Bad chemistry with your DJ. You running out of breath and you relying on the crowd to carry you and sing your goddamn punchlines. That's a L, and an L. So the winner is Big Daddy Kane. By decision, like I said, even with all that being said, KRS-One finished so strong that he didn't get knocked out. He saved himself from being knocked out, but he still lost by decision. My wife felt the same way. She sat there. I was supposed to be watching the Verzuz with some buddies of mine. The timing of it didn't work out, and I felt bad because I know my wife is into hip hop, and I threw her arm around. I said, "You want to watch this with me?" She said, "Yeah, okay." And I felt bad. I love my wife, man, and she felt the same way I did. She's been into hip hop probably even earlier than I was. She just was as heavy into it. Probably knows more lyrics than I do because I'm not great with remembering lyrics. I don't remember beats, and I'm more of a beat music oriented person and a flow-oriented dude than remembering lyrics. And this is why I never was a rapper, because I forget my own goddamn songs. I create them good. I can rhyme. I can write rhymes. But when I got on stage and have to remember it now, I don't know. I had to, boo! Get him off the stage. So, yeah, I don't want to be long-winded on this because it's not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's many long-winded breakdowns about this. Hot 97's breakdown, I didn't watch all of it, but they disqualified in my opinion because for them to give the first 3 rounds of KRS-One and he wasn't even completing his own verses, that to me was just amateurish on their part. And they claim to be such stalwarts and such hip-hop historians and they do this, and no. There's no way that you could say that you are a hip hop aficionado and just totally ignore the fact that KRS-One wasn't rhyming his verses completely. He was using too much crowd participation in a stadium where he was rhyming like he was in a small club venue full of white or Asian people that were hanging on every word, knew every word, and could support him that way. It seemed like KRS-One got used to performing like that and could not switch it up. Whereas Kane looked like he's the way more versatile performer, whether it's small club venues or big stadiums, because he didn't even have Scoob and Scrap Lover and doing the dancing and all that. Like, he really would have killed KRS-One with that. He actually spared KRS-One his full stage show. So for those that will be watching this, please like, share, subscribe. Please, I want opinionated people. Get up in the comment section. Tell me I'm a damn fool. I don't know what I'm talking about. KRS-One smash Big Daddy Kane, yada, yada, yada. And we could talk about it. We could debate about it. But that's how I felt. That's how my wife felt. That's how my partners felt when I spoke to them after the verses. We all felt the same way. KRS-One can't win based on that alone. It's lazy MCing. And why? And you know who created this pet peeve in me? When we went to go see Melly Mel in the Grand Concourse in the Bronx a few years ago. Everybody stand up. Everybody do jumping jacks. Everybody double dutch. We're like, when are you going to start rapping, nigga? We paid money to see people rap and perform. And because dudes like Melly Mel, who's another one claiming he's the greatest MC ever, you only got 3 goddamn records. So you got to stretch out your whole 15, 20-minute stage show with everybody. When I say ho, you say hey, ho, hip, hop, everybody scream. Yo, I was ready to walk out. I was like, this is what this shit gonna be? I don't want to stay for this. And, my wife, she'll, why you gotta be like this? She want me to have a good time. But I was annoyed as fuck with them old school niggas that ain't got no records, and they want the crowd to do every goddamn thing for them. No. I don't like that type of performance at all. At all. Snoop Dogg is a great performer because he raps his verses. DMX was a great performer. DMX used some crowd participation, but he rapped his verses. This is why I don't like old school concerts. For the most part. This is why I don't, because usually they had a limited commercial run. So you only know about 3 or 4 of their records tops. And everything else is everybody. Hey, all the single ladies. All that fucking, you don't want to hear that every show. Every show. Everybody from Brooklyn, make some noise. Oh, if you're over 40, make some noise. Listen, god damn. Who's performing, me or you? So I have a pet peeve against that. And when I seen KRS-One start to do that, I said, okay, if he keeps doing this, to me, he lost. And he did it song after song after song after song. And to me, this is why he lost. I'm going to cut this short here. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'm really interested in what you guys out there have to say about this versus. If you disagree with me, tell me why. Don't just say, KRS-One washed Kane. How? How did he wash him? If he wasn't rapping his verses, how did he wash him? He had to resort to going in his freestyle bag toward the end. Like I said, he was trying to save himself from drowning. He tried to save himself from being knocked out. All you had to do was look at the look in his eye midway through the show. That just showed you he knew he was losing. All right? And it wasn't a Brooklyn biased crowd either. Even though it was in the Barclays Center, I can't say that the crowd was biased toward Kane. It was split down the middle. But I feel like KRS-One tried to take over. He tried to use an old corny tactic of taking over the crowd with all that call and response shit. You know what I'm saying? Where people is dressing up in their best outfits, they putting on every piece of jewelry they got on the house. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people didn't pay their rent so they could go there that night. They wanted to see a show. They didn't want to be part of the show. All you old school rappers, stop doing that, man. If you're not in Europe or Asia with all them diehards hanging on your every word, when you're performing in front of black people, you got to work and do your fucking records. Why you think people got booed at the Apollo so much? We don't play when it comes to performing. Why? That's why we as a people are the best performers, because our people are the biggest critics. That's why we produce the best comedians, the best musicians, the best actors, because black folk will go and critique everything. And you really got to work to impress us and to please us. And KRS-One went off on his ego and act like he didn't have to work, like he didn't have to put that work in. And so that's why, in my opinion, he lost. Let me know what you think. This has been Rand Social. Please like, share, subscribe. Until next time, peace.